It begins with the death of Irwin "Ruby" Rubinstein, the beloved local who owned Ruby's Dunes in Palm Springs. He was also a good friend of Old Blue Eyes. Frank Sinatra, being Frank Sinatra, decided he wanted to throw a big celebration for the life of his friend Ruby. So Frank started inviting his pals from all over the country for a memorial that would culminate in the burial of Rubinstein. But Ruby Rubinstein died November 23, 1978, Thanksgiving weekend. The cemetery wasn't open over the holidays, but Frank Sinatra was not about to be embarrassed. He had pull in Palm Springs, and he knew it. So he started making phone calls.
And the phone rings, and Bill's the mayor of Palm Springs. And I see him going, but what, Frank? He couldn't get a word in. And I said, who is that? Get off of the phone. It's Frank Sinatra. Now, what's the matter? Well, Julie Rubinstein had died that morning. And Frank apparently had gotten on the phone and called hundreds of people and said that the funeral was going to be at Temple Isaiah.
After several phone calls to Mayor Bill Foster's home on Thanksgiving Day and a growingly frustrated Barbara Foster, whose Thanksgiving feast was on the verge of being ruined, she came up with an idea.
I said to the rabbi, this is very important, Joe, listen to me. How badly do you want $1 million? He said, well, really bad. So I said, how would you like to do a friend a favor? And he said, who's the friend? I said, Frank Sinatra. He said, what is it? I said, well, can you tell me whether Ruby Rubinstein ever came to your temple? He said, hell no. He never even stepped into it. I said, well, this is not going to make easy then, because Frank Sinatra has put himself in a very embarrassing position, having invited all these people for Monday for internment. And he said, well, for $1 million, I'll open the damn grave.
Now, the good folks at Temple Isaiah have a slightly different version of this story, and like so many stories of our desert past, legend and lore often take over for truth and fact. But here's what we do know. Rabbi Joe got his temple. Frank Sinatra did donate $1 million, and Irwin "Ruby" Rubinstein was buried on a day that the cemetery would normally be closed. And Frank and his pal said goodbye to their pal Ruby in true Sinatra style.